Butler's had a lot of close but not quite this year.
Yeah.
What makes them dangerous enough to pay attention to for you guys?
Well, they shoot the three really well. They make 9 threes a game and shoot it at 38 or more percent. So we're going to have to defend the three-point line, and then they've got a good post player in Sidney James. So they're balanced. I think they're well coached, and like you said, they've been close. So it's not. And one of their losses was to UConn, and closer than we played them.
Right.
So, I think it'll be a challenge. They've got experience, particularly on the perimeter, we've got to stay hungry. I felt like we made a little bit of a step against DePaul, but we can still play better than we've played, and that's got to be a big part of it too. Is not just to find a way to win, but to continue to get better.
They have 3 kids with some size, and then also averaging close to, if not above, 2 offensive boards a game. With the way they shoot it, how hard is it to cover as much ground as you're going to have to cover tomorrow and clean up on the glass?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to be pretty active and maybe switch a lot more, maybe even than we would necessarily like to. But we can't let them get going. And like you said, if they get offensive rebounds, they usually have 2 or 3 shooters spotted up for a kick-out 3. So all that's going to be important. And they're another team that plays pretty slow, so it's a game you don't want to fall behind by 6 or 8 or 10 because it's going to be a reasonably low possession game if they can especially if they can play from the lead.
Coming off that ball run now, having back-to-back home games, is this kind of a good chance to maybe get in a bit of a groove and kind of build some momentum?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I don't think we played great at DePaul. We had some turnover issues, but I think it was still a good bounce back given how fragile we probably could have been coming out of the UConn game. So, and then to have 2 home games, I think gives us a chance to build some momentum and like I said, just play better. I mean, one of the things we talked about after UConn was we probably have to coach you guys just a little bit harder, you upperclassmen. And we've probably let some things slide, and now we see where the bar is. When you play UConn, you see where the bar is. So it is about rebuilding confidence, but it's also about correcting some things that probably we had let go.
How much easier is that to do when you're sitting here at home, as opposed to going back and forth on the road? You get a solid week in your own gym.
Yeah, the practice time is big, and even going into next week, we'll have a full week to practice. So, unfortunately, we really haven't been a better home team than road team the last year and a half. I mean, last year we were, I think, 12-3 on the road and lost 4 home games, and this year we're sitting at 2 home losses. So, and only 1 on the road. So, but there still should be a comfort level, and as you say, it's not even just about playing in your own gym. It's about not having to travel, and I think that's a big piece of it. And we were on the road a decent amount during the non-conference, so it's nice to be home for multiple days, because I do think that allows your players to get in a rhythm. And now that we're back in school, I think that's a good thing too.
You touched on it, but just how do you feel your team has responded over the past week since that loss to UConn?
Yeah, I think with maturity that we responded with what I would hope for a team that's got a lot of leaders and a lot of pride. I felt like, if you weren't humbled by last Wednesday, you're not a competitor. And I was humbled, and I think our players were. And so you just say, we got to do some things better than we're doing them. And like I said, I don't think we were great against DePaul, but I thought we were gritty. We found a way to win against a good team on the road, and when we were probably a little fragile. So I think that speaks to our maturity. It speaks to the fact that we want that our goals are still in front of us, and we have a lot to play for, but we also have a desire to get better.
A lot of coaches don't like to bring up what happened last year, but Morgan mentioned that, looking ahead to Providence, that you made the point of mentioning that already. Played well in the bounce back against DePaul, and then the setback against Providence. So why was that important for you is that a level of just kind of keeping them focused, or what?
Yeah, I think it's, to your earlier question, just because we're at home doesn't make us, that doesn't guarantee that we're going to win. It doesn't guarantee that we're going to play well. And I think our players know that, but I still think you can remind them of that, because there's all kinds of scenarios in sport where teams think they have it figured out, and that's just not the way sports works. If the other team's coming in here, they'll be, they've lost a couple close competitive games, and they're a good team, and they're going to fight. And the fact is there isn't a lot of difference top to bottom in our league, at least in the middle 3 quarters of it. And so I think our players need to be. I think they know that, but it never hurts to be reminded.